I'm going to show you a few examples how we're going to use elimination to solve this system of equations. I don't want to use substitution because I'd have to solve one of these for one variable and that would just take too much time. So what we're going to do is we're going to add these together. Notice how these two are opposites of each other. When something is the opposite, they're going to cancel. And I'm left with 5y equals 9 plus 16, which is 25. So I'm going to divide both sides by 5. Therefore, y equals 5. So I know I can fill in my y value of 5. Now I'm going to pick either equation, and I'm just going to pick this top one because it has less negatives. And since I know the value of y, what I'm going to do with that equation is take y and make it a parentheses. And in that parentheses, I'm going to fill in the value of y. So what I really have right now is 4x plus 10 equals 9. So to solve this, I'm going to subtract 10 from both sides, and I have 4x equals negative 1. Then I'll divide both sides by 4. Then I can state that x equals negative 1/4, and there's my x value of negative 1/4, or you could use negative 0.25. Well, that was a pretty easy one because it was really easy just to cross off the opposite. What happens when you get something like this? If I look at my y's, they're not the opposites. That's 3 and 1. The x's are not the opposite. Y's are not the opposite because it's 2 and negative 1, so that's a little closer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply this by 2. So if I multiply everything by 2, I'm left with 2x minus 1y equals negative 8. 2x minus, we should say 1 times 2 is negative 2y. So now I'm just going to bring the other one underneath, 3x plus 2y equals 7. And now I can add these together because those will eliminate. So I have 5x equals negative 1. Divide both sides by 5, and I have x equals negative 1/5. So now I can go back to any one of these equations. I'm going to go back to the x minus y equals negative 4. And what I'm going to do for x is I'm going to plug in negative 1/5. Then I'm going to solve for y. I'm going to add 1/5 to both sides. Those will cancel, and negative y equals negative 4 plus 1/5. When I do that, I get negative 3.8, or I can write that as negative y equals negative 19/5. If you have a graphing calculator, I highly recommend using your math function, press option number 1, and turning everything into a fraction. Next, I'm going to divide both sides by negative 1. Therefore, y equals a positive 19/5. And there's my answer. Let's look at one more problem. What happens when there's nothing I can multiply? So what I'm looking at is my smaller x. Can I multiply anything to give me 3? Nope. There's my smaller y. Can I multiply anything to give me 4? And the answer is no. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to change both. What I do is I crisscross. So since the first number here is 2, I'll multiply 2 up top. Since this number here is 3, I'll put the 3 on the bottom. As long as one of those 4 numbers have a negative, we'll be good. Right now I don't. That's a positive, 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 positive. So let me throw 1 negative in there. So I'm going to distribute the top part. That gives me negative 6x minus 8y equals negative 20. That's 6x plus 9y equals 21. Now let's add. That cancels, and I'm left with y equals 1. That's perfect. So now y equals 1. I'm going to take any of the equations. So I'll take that 2x plus 3y equals 7, and I'm going to plug in for y this time. So that gives me 2x plus 3. I know the value of y is 1 equals 7, which is 2x plus 3 equals 7. Let's subtract 3 to both sides, and 2x equals 4. Divide both sides by 2, and x equals 2. And there's my final solution.